You're carrying around hidden wealth right now, and there's a terrifying chance you already spent one of these coins without even looking at it. I'm serious. Somewhere inside an old jar, a dusty drawer, a forgotten wallet, or mixed into pocket change, there could be a silent fortune staring back at you. And almost nobody talks about these wheat pennies because the people who understand them are quietly buying them fast. Collectors are fighting over certain rare dates with strange surfaces, odd colors, and tiny details most people completely ignore. One innocent-looking penny has already shocked auctions with values exploding into the hundreds of thousands. So before you spend another single cent, check your pocket now, because these coins change everything. And trust me, the deeper we go into this list, the rarer, scarier, and more valuable these hidden treasures become. Stay till the end, because what comes next is not fiction. Coin number 1. The 1941 wheat penny without a mint mark is the kind of coin most people throw into jars, drop into vending machines, or lose under car seats without a second thought. And that's exactly why collectors are obsessed with it right now. At first glance, it looks worn, dark, and ordinary. But hidden inside certain surviving examples is a level of rarity almost nobody notices until a professional grader looks closely. And if your coin has strange dark green spotting on the reverse side in very fine condition, you might be staring at a silent fortune people accidentally spend every single day. This is not fiction. Most people miss this completely. What makes this penny so dangerous to ignore is the year itself. America, in 1941, was standing at the edge of massive change. The country was under growing economic pressure. Factories were preparing for wartime production, and the United States Mint was pushing hard to keep coin production moving efficiently. Workers were striking dies repeatedly at exhausting speeds, machinery was aging, and production stress was becoming impossible to avoid. That pressure created coins with strange surfaces, unusual toning, and tiny characteristics that collectors today study obsessively under magnification. And the craziest part? Some of those overlooked details turned ordinary pennies into hidden wealth worth serious money. The absence of a mint mark is where the obsession begins. This coin came from the Philadelphia Mint, meaning no letter appears beneath the date. To normal people, that sounds boring. To collectors, it changes everything. Philadelphia struck wheat pennies from 1941 developed a reputation for subtle variations in strike quality, luster aging, and surface preservation. Many were heavily circulated during one of the most unstable periods in American history, which means surviving examples with original character became incredibly difficult to find decades later, especially coins showing authentic aging without cleaning. That's where the real auction shock starts happening. Now look carefully at the reverse side. The dark green spot matters more than you think. Most beginners panic when they see unusual color on old copper coins, but experienced collectors know authentic oxidation patterns can sometimes prove originality. Natural aging on a copper wheat penny creates surfaces impossible to fake perfectly. That dark antique look, mixed with deep brown tones and isolated green oxidation, can become evidence the coin survived, untouched, for generations. And collectors love untouched coins. They want originality. They want history frozen in metal. Clean surfaces destroy that emotional connection instantly. That's why one of the biggest mistakes people make is cleaning old pennies. Never clean this coin. Never polish it. Never scrub it with baking soda, chemicals, or cloth. The second original toning disappears, the emotional and financial value can collapse permanently. Collectors can detect cleaned copper almost immediately because the surface loses its natural texture and develops unnatural brightness. Even tiny hairline scratches from wiping can ruin professional grading results. This detail changes everything. A naturally aged 1941 wheat penny with original surfaces can attract aggressive bidding wars, while a cleaned example becomes far less desirable overnight. And when you hold this penny in your hand, it doesn't feel special at first, which is exactly why so many fortunes disappear unnoticed. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams and carries that classic bronze composition made from 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc blended in. Its diameter measures around 19 millimeters, while the thickness sits near 1.5 millimeters. The girth feels small and familiar, almost harmless, yet collectors treat certain surviving examples like buried treasure. That humble size hides decades of American history, wartime tension, and collector obsession compressed into one tiny coin. On the obverse side, you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right, his portrait carrying the worn dignity of a coin that survived circulation through one of America's most uncertain periods. Above him appears the word Liberty, while the date 1941 sits clearly beside his profile. The phrase, "In God We Trust," stretches across the top edge. But advanced collectors don't stop at the obvious design. They inspect the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, the visibility of his coat details, and even the exact texture around the lettering. Tiny differences in wear patterns can separate ordinary examples from coins worth astonishing money. Then comes the reverse side, the design that created the legendary name Wheat Penny. Two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum curves above the center. On heavily circulated coins, those wheat lines fade quickly, which is why very fine condition matters so much here. If strong wheat details remain visible, while the surfaces still carry natural age and original darkness, collectors begin paying serious attention. Add authentic green spotting and untouched texture, and suddenly the coin transforms from pocket change into something auction houses quietly monitor. Here's what most people never realize. Survival is the true rarity. Millions were minted in 1941, but the overwhelming majority was spent relentlessly during the 1940s and 1950s. Children traded them for candy, businesses rolled them into bank deposits, and families ignored them for decades. Copper coins were handled roughly, exposed to moisture, oils, and environmental damage. So when a naturally preserved example surfaces today with strong details and original character intact, collectors react emotionally. They know another identical piece may not appear again anytime soon. That shrinking supply fuels aggressive competition behind closed doors. Auction behavior around these coins has become especially intense in recent years. Wealthy collectors are holding rather than selling, which quietly reduces market availability even more. And when demand rises while supply shrinks, prices begin climbing fast. Some buyers wait months or even years, hoping another strong example appears publicly. Others attack auctions aggressively the second they spot authentic originality. This is hidden wealth operating quietly beneath everyday life. Most people walk past it constantly without understanding what they're seeing. Meanwhile, experienced collectors study every tiny surface detail like treasure hunters searching for gold. Professional grading is absolutely critical with a coin like this. A certified grading company can confirm authenticity, detect cleaning, evaluate surface preservation, and determine whether the toning appears natural. Without professional grading, Many buyers hesitate because counterfeit surfaces and artificial aging techniques have become more sophisticated over time. But once a respected grading service validates the coin's originality and condition, the entire conversation changes. Suddenly, the penny becomes protected, documented, and trusted inside the collector market. That trust creates stronger bidding, stronger demand, and sometimes unbelievable auction results that shock ordinary people. And yes, the market value attached to certain 1,941 no-mint wheat pennies in very fine condition with exceptional originality has reached staggering levels. We are talking about the kind of serious money that can completely change someone's financial future. Imagine discovering that the dark old penny hiding inside a forgotten drawer was actually a life-changing opportunity all along. Imagine realizing this coin everyone ignored was carrying hidden treasure for decades. That's why collectors become obsessed. Not just because of money, but because of the emotional thrill of discovering quiet wealth hidden in plain sight. If you think you found one, the first thing to check is the surface. Look for natural brown aging, strong wheat details, and signs the coin has never been cleaned. Pay attention to the green spotting because authentic oxidation patterns can sometimes support originality rather than hurt it. Next, examine Lincoln's portrait carefully for remaining sharpness. Then check the rim and lettering for strong visibility. And above all else, be patient. Many people rush to sell too quickly or damage coins accidentally while trying to clean them. Patience creates wealth in the coin world. What comes next is even bigger. Because the next wheat penny on this list carries a level of rarity so shocking that some collectors refuse to discuss it publicly. One tiny feature turned that coin into a monster auction target, and people are still unknowingly spending it today. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel penny without a mint mark might be one of the most misunderstood treasures in American coin history because people see the strange silver color, notice a few brown dots on the surface, and instantly assume the coin is damaged or worthless. That mistake has cost people hidden fortunes for generations. And what makes this even crazier is the fact that some of the most desired surviving examples actually carry those unusual aging marks collectors obsess over. This is the kind of coin ordinary people throw into jars, while experienced collectors quietly freeze the moment they see one. Most people have no idea what they're holding. The year 1943 was chaos for the United States Mint. America was fully locked into World War II, and copper had suddenly become more important for military production than everyday coinage. The government needed copper for ammunition, communications equipment, shell casings, and wartime manufacturing. So the Mint made an emergency decision that completely changed the appearance of the penny overnight. Instead of using the familiar bronze alloy Americans recognized for decades, they switched temporarily to zinc-coated steel. That single decision created one of the most legendary collector coins ever released into circulation. And the version without a mint mark carries a special kind of mystery. No mint mark means this coin came from the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most important minting facility in the country at the time. Philadelphia operated under enormous wartime pressure during 1943, producing coins at exhausting speed while trying to maintain consistency under difficult conditions. Machinery ran constantly. Dyes wore down rapidly. Zinc coatings behaved unpredictably. Workers faced production stress few people today even imagine. And inside that pressure, tiny variations emerged. Subtle strike differences, surface textures, and aging characteristics collectors study obsessively decades later. Now here's where the story becomes dangerous to ignore. Most steel pennies from 1943 were destroyed slowly over time by moisture, rust, mishandling, or aggressive cleaning. Steel reacts very differently than copper, and once the protective zinc coating becomes compromised, deterioration can spread quickly. That means surviving uncirculated examples are already extremely difficult to locate. But when an uncirculated 1943 steel penny still shows original surfaces along with authentic brown spotting from natural aging, collectors often become emotionally obsessed because those spots can represent untouched originality instead of damage. This detail changes everything. The brown dots appearing on some authentic steel cents usually form through decades of tiny environmental interactions affecting the zinc coating. Beginners panic when they see them. Experienced collectors lean closer. Why? Because natural aging patterns can prove the coin was never harshly cleaned, polished, or artificially restored. In the collector world, originality is king. A bright, unnatural steel penny with cleaned surfaces often feels lifeless compared to a naturally aged coin carrying honest wartime character. Those tiny brown dots can become part of the coin's identity, evidence that history touched the metal naturally over generations. And when you hold the coin in your hand, it feels unlike almost any other wheat penny ever made. The steel composition creates a colder sensation immediately noticeable compared to bronze cents. The coin weighs approximately 2.7 grams because steel replaced the heavier copper mixture normally used for Lincoln pennies. The diameter remains close to 19 millimeters, while the thickness stays around 1.5 millimeters. But the overall feel is different. The edges seem sharper. The metallic tone sounds distinct when lightly tapped. Even the reflective quality under light feels eerie compared to ordinary copper coins people recognize instantly. That unusual appearance confused Americans immediately back in 1943. Many people thought the new pennies looked fake. Others believed they resembled foreign coins or arcade tokens. Some citizens even complained publicly because vending machines occasionally rejected steel cents due to magnetic properties. But over time, these wartime pennies transformed from temporary emergency coinage into legendary collector targets. And today, uncirculated examples with authentic surfaces are treated almost like frozen pieces of World War II history. Every untouched detail matters. Every original mark matters. Every surviving surface tells a story. Look carefully at the obverse side, and you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right exactly as Americans expected. But against steel, the portrait takes on a completely different personality. In God we trust curves across the top, while liberty appears beside Lincoln's profile. The date 1943 stands clearly near the lower edge. Since this coin came from Philadelphia, no mint mark appears beneath the date. But collectors don't stop at reading the text. They study the sharpness of Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, hair separation, and coat detail because strike quality affects collector demand dramatically in uncirculated condition. And then you flip the coin over to the reverse side, where the legendary wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above that appears E pluribus unum. On steel cents, this reverse design often appears especially dramatic because the silver-gray surfaces reflect shadows differently than bronze coins. In uncirculated condition, collectors want strong, crisp wheat lines, bold lettering, and untouched texture free from harsh handling. When those features survive, together with natural aging and original brown spotting, serious buyers begin paying very close attention. Because survival this clean is genuinely rare. Think about what happened to most steel pennies after 1943. They circulated aggressively during wartime commerce, passed through countless hands, and were stored carelessly in humid basements, metal containers, drawers, and jars. Many developed rust. Others corroded badly. Some were replated artificially by owners trying to improve them. And countless examples were cleaned harshly by people who thought shiny meant valuable. Every damaged coin reduced the surviving pool of attractive original examples forever. That shrinking supply quietly increased collector obsession year after year. Never clean this coin. That warning cannot be repeated enough because steel cents are extremely vulnerable to surface damage. The zinc coating reacts badly to polishing, chemicals, abrasives, and improper storage methods. The second someone attempts cleaning, the coin can lose its original wartime texture forever. Professional graders instantly recognize unnatural surfaces, and once authenticity feels compromised, serious collector interest often collapses. Original toning matters. Brown dots matter. Honest aging matters. Collectors would rather own a naturally aged, uncirculated steel penny than an artificially bright coin stripped of historical character. And the auction behavior surrounding these coins has become incredibly intense. Some collectors spend years searching for uncirculated 1943 steel cents with untouched surfaces because truly original examples are disappearing quietly into permanent collections. Wealthy buyers often refuse to sell once they acquire strong specimens, believing future scarcity will drive demand even higher. That creates emotional pressure inside auctions. Quiet bidders suddenly compete aggressively once the right coin appears. Experienced collectors know they may not see another comparable example for months or even years. This is hidden wealth psychology operating beneath the surface, while ordinary people still ignore these pennies completely. What makes this coin even more emotional is its direct connection to wartime America. Every 1943 steel penny represents sacrifice, industrial pressure, and national survival during one of the most difficult periods in U.S. history. Families used these coins while soldiers fought overseas, and factories operated non-stop, supporting the war effort. The steel itself became symbolic of America adapting under pressure. So when collectors hold an original uncirculated example today, they are touching more than just money. They are holding physical evidence of a nation fighting through uncertainty and transformation. And here's something most people never realize. Uncirculated condition changes everything in the coin world because it preserves details circulation destroys permanently. On an uncirculated 1943 steel penny, collectors inspect luster patterns, strike sharpness, rim integrity, and surface texture under magnification. They examine how light moves across the zinc coating. They analyze the positioning of brown spots and determine whether aging appears natural or artificial. Tiny differences invisible to normal people can create massive differences in collector demand. This is why professional grading becomes absolutely critical. Professional grading authenticates the coin, evaluates preservation quality, and determines whether the surfaces remain original. Without grading, buyers worry about artificial replating, hidden corrosion, cleaning, or altered surfaces. But once a respected grading service certifies an uncirculated 1943 steel penny as authentic with original surfaces intact, collector confidence rises dramatically. That confidence fuels stronger bidding, stronger competition, and stronger long-term demand. Trust creates value in this market. And yes, certain uncirculated examples have reached astonishing auction levels that completely shock people outside the hobby. We are talking about serious money attached to a coin many Americans still dismiss as strange pocket change. Imagine discovering that the odd silver penny hiding inside an inherited collection was actually a life-changing opportunity all along. Imagine realizing the tiny brown-spotted steel cent people ignored for decades carried hidden treasure potential the entire time. That possibility keeps collectors searching endlessly through estate sales, bankrolls, flea markets, and forgotten family collections. If you think you've found one, the first thing to check is whether the coin sticks to a magnet, because genuine steel cents are magnetic. Then inspect the surfaces carefully under soft lighting. Look for natural aging rather than artificial shine. Pay attention to brown spotting patterns because authentic aging often appears irregular and subtle. Examine Lincoln's portrait and the wheat lines for strong, preserved detail. And above all else, never touch the surfaces unnecessarily. Hold the coin only by the edges and store it safely away from moisture or humidity. Patience creates wealth in coin collecting. Too many people destroy valuable coins by cleaning them impulsively or rushing into bad sales before understanding what they possess. The smartest collectors move slowly, protect originality, and seek professional grading before making major decisions. One overlooked detail can transform an ordinary-looking steel penny into a silent fortune, hiding in plain sight. Do not spend this coin if you find one. Protect it immediately because examples like this are becoming harder to locate every single year. Hidden treasure continues disappearing from circulation while collector demand quietly keeps growing stronger behind the scenes. Most people still have no idea these coins matter. And the terrifying part? There are even rarer Lincoln cents out there right now. Coins so valuable and so obsessively hunted that some collectors literally check every penny they receive in change, hoping for a miracle. One tiny detail on the next coin could change someone's entire life overnight.